you're a successful founder and you're really, really good at what you do, probably called you an expert. Right now, you've built something real, your business, and you're working harder and harder than you've ever worked before. But you feel like you're falling further and further behind. You are starting to wonder, what is this all for? Is it really worth it? That's not a failure. I know it feels like a failure, but it's not. It's called the wall. And almost every growing, successful owner operator hits that wall. They get to a point where they built past a certain size and it's, getting harder and harder to sustain. So this isn't a character flaw. It's not really a management problem. It is purely a structural trap. And nobody warned you it was coming, but I see it all the time with our founders. So this episode is talking about what that wall is, what causes it, why it exists, and what it's actually costing you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Jennifer Todd. I'm the host of Founder Get Your Life Back, and I'm also a CPA. I've owned my own small firm for over 20 years. So I know the struggles of what it's like to be really good at what you do, be the answer person in your business, and never feel like you can escape that trap. You can't seem to find the people that you want to find to be able to support you in the way that you want or need to be supported because you never feel like there's enough money to be able to afford to hire the people you need. I can remember one Sunday, it was right after the end of a tax season, and tax seasons back in the early days for me, or even not too distant past, were really stressful. And I had too many clients and I was working all the time. And that was pretty common for a CPA, but I hated it. And I can remember one Sunday after church sitting there feeling really guilty because it was the first time I'd been to church in quite a few Sundays. I was just asking myself, what am I working so hard for if I have no time left for the people and the things that actually add meaning to my life? What am I doing this for? What is the point? What am I getting from this business? I'm definitely not getting back what I'm putting into it. And so I wasn't getting rich, although my husband wished I was. He kept saying, as much as you work, we should be millionaires by now. Well, we weren't. I was often finding myself in the position of being the business's personal bank and biggest lender and filling all the gaps, right? I wasn't surely getting my time back with my kids and getting relief from the stress of carrying all of that weight on my shoulders. So I did what a lot of founders do. I read all the books. I read Profit First, Clockwork, Built to Sell, The E-Myth, Traction. Out of all those, Traction's probably my favorite. They all have great concepts, but they didn't give me what I needed to implement any of those tools. They all had really good ideas, kind of got me thinking differently about my business, but how was I going to pay myself first if I couldn't even figure out how to pay everybody or pay myself what I really needed and let alone what I wanted out of the business? How was I going to be able to systematize using the clockwork methodology if I had no time left at the end of the day for my personal life, let alone adding one more thing to my to-do list during the day? How was I going to build to sell and automate all the things when, again, there was no bandwidth and I didn't trust my people enough to do the things that I was doing in the business? So I found out that they're very, very good at some strategic ideas, but they left me really short on implementation. So I built a system to kind of close that gap. I don't just test it on clients. I use it in my own business to make the business what I want and what I need. So I really wanted to stop hating my business and start enjoying my life. I make a terrible employee. I love owning my own business. I want to keep doing that. So how do I do that? And I bet you're probably in the same boat. So what I find is the founders that I work with are not struggling because they're bad at business. They're struggling because they are very, very good at what they do. And the business kind of grew up around them, delivering all of the high value in their business. It left, again, no room for structure and no room for processes and making sure that all the right pieces were in place in the right order. So my founders that I work with, they try all the obvious fixes. They hire more people. They implement systems. They buy software systems. Those things, they go halfway used. And what I mean by that is they hire more people, but then that adds a layer of stress and anxiety because not only do you have more to manage and you're still stuck in the weeds, but now more people are relying on your business to help them survive as well. And then with more software and systems and processes, adding that onto an already shaky foundation won't typically work because, again, there's not enough money or time to get them implemented properly and then to keep them up and keep them going. So what I often see would be halfway implemented systems without investing in the proper resources to maximize the systems and make sure you're getting the most out of them. To give you an example, QuickBooks not integrating with your project management software or your billing software. I see founders invoicing out of Word and Excel instead of inside of their QuickBooks system. Things like that, inventory systems outside of QuickBooks. When you have a bunch of manual workflows, you end up introducing all different ways to make errors in the data. It also creates a lot of delays in getting you the details and the information you need to make good decisions. So adding systems that aren't going to be implemented fully and completely and then kept up is really not helping the problem. It's actually just adding more complexity. So the other thing that my founders do that keep them kind of stuck in the weeds is they blame the team. I was guilty of this too. I was really, really good at playing the victim and the martyr in my business. So that's kind of an ego problem. So I'm going to speak with kindness and love here because I'm a fellow founder too. Sometimes we have ego problems that kind of keep us stuck in the weeds. I blamed my team for not stepping up until I realized that I was the one keeping them from stepping up, because the conditions for them to be successful did not exist. They did not have one definition of success, which a whole system and process and methodology is built upon one definition of success that everyone in the organization knows. Once I implemented that in my own business, it made a lot of sense to my employees. All the different employees that were doing all the different things, they knew the end result was the customer and how that customer felt. Then they could make the right decisions because they would think about what's our goal with the customer. Another thing keeping my founders stuck is that they blame the market. They think that the market is outside of their control. They're disloyal. They're ungrateful. They don't see how we add value, what we bring to the table. They're price sensitive. I can't charge what I really want to charge, what we're worth. I discount all these things that they believe. A different way to think about that, and this is how I kind of coach my founders, is to think about the customer's job is to get the most value for the lowest price. Put yourself in the customer's position. Every time you go to buy something, you're going to try to get the best deal possible. So when you're always showing up in the market as the lowest cost, lowest priced provider, then that's all your customers are going to see you as. They're going to be price sensitive. But our job as founders is to understand exactly what that customer wants from us, what they value deeply, and then to build offers that are worth paying for and that turn into a triple win for our customers and our team and our business. When that happens, the founder wins too. So what actually is broken is almost never what it looks like from the inside of your business that's keeping you stuck. You think you can't afford to hire. You think you can't afford a new system or to make big changes in your business. It takes too much time, too much energy, too much effort. The last thing you need is one more thing on your to-do list. But there's a way to do it systematically that will help you get out of the weeds while your business becomes self-supporting and profitable. It's all about the order in which you do it. Most founders start their business the same way. They're really good at something. Clients come, the work grows. But again, the solutions get band-aided. They get piled on, they get roped together to handle whatever problem showed up that week. People get hired. Most of the time, the founder, especially in a small business, they're going to hire the people they know already that they trust, whether or not that's the best person for the job at hand. My founders will treat their financials as a necessary evil instead of being the clearest picture and hidden goldmine of all the useful data that they need to be able to make really good decisions about their next move in their business. To be fair, most of my founders, they're not experts in accounting or looking at the numbers. A lot of them don't even know if they're profitable. What they're doing is they're logging into their bank account every morning, checking that balance and making their business decisions for the day based on the bank balance in the morning. I do that too, but I also have a spending plan and a cash budget. So there's ways to supplement what you're doing that make your decisions smarter and more intentional. Over time, a business built this way starts operating by default instead of by intention. And once you're in that type of default mode of running your business and building your business and saying yes to all the things, it is very hard to get out of that. You're kind of stuck without a plan. The technical expertise that made you successful in the first place, the thing your customers originally hired you for, becomes its own kind of trap. Your comfort zone turns into a de facto prison for you. You're the one running the ball to the goal and creating all the scores and all the wins in your business. You can't figure out how to hand it off or throw that pass to your trusty wide receiver. Can you tell we're college football fans in our family? What that is called in practice, it's called founder heroics. When your business relies on your founder heroics to be successful, you stay stuck. So again, this isn't a personal failing. It happens when your business was never designed to run without you. It is totally structural and totally fixable. But before it can be fixed, there are three big questions almost every stuck founder is holding on to and really kind of questioning, keeping them stuck, and they don't know how to get the right answers. The very first thing is, can the business afford for me to step back into the role that I really want to be in? So there's two types of founders. The type of founder who loves working in the business, they love the technical side of it, but they're carrying some guilt around working in the business instead of on the business. So when you're working in the business, like they talk about in that E-Myth book, you're not doing all the necessary things to support the business in a healthy way of growing because you're so busy churning and burning and doing all the client deliverables. So there's nothing wrong with if that's where you want to be in your business. If you want to be that technical expert, you want to be the churning and burning, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And there's a place for you, founder, that's a guilt-free place. The thing is, all the other stuff of working on the business has to be funded by your production. So that means you're going to have to outsource, the marketing and the IT and all of those other things that go along with running a business that maybe don't get done because you're going to have to make sure you have a healthy pipeline so you're not saying yes to bad work and doing all these other things that keep you stuck in the weeds. The second type of founder is the one who outgrows the technical side of their business. They've moved past it. It takes a while typically for most founders to get there, most technical experts to get there, where they want to move into more of a leadership role, more of a mentorship. They're ready to bring up the next generation, whether that's family members or outside hires or people already in the business. And they're ready to kind of give up that lead expert role, or maybe not even that, but maybe just ready to stop all the doing and start some leading, teaching, guiding, mentoring, enjoying their time with their customers in a different type of relationship. Then there's also the third type of founder, which this podcast isn't necessarily for, but it's the hands-off investor, the person that wants a business and they don't really do anything with it. It's just purely an investment. So I'm speaking mostly to the founder that either wants to stay in their business and just kind of get out of burnout and make sure they're healthy and doing everything that they love doing every day in their business. And the founder that has outgrown their role and wants to figure out how to get out of the weeds without losing control and profitability and all the things. So the first question, can I afford to get out of this role, or can I afford to fund the roles I need to support me staying in my technical founder role? So the second question that my customers really get stuck behind is, will my customers that are used to seeing me be the chief person that delivers and that they talk to, that they ask all the questions and all of those things, are they ready to see me in a different role inside of the business? Will they work with someone else inside of the business in a lead role? So will they accept the change? Will my customers stick around? Are they here because of me, or are they here because of what our business delivers? That reminds me of a client I had years ago, owned a gym, and they were in that position of they had already outgrown the lead coach role, the lead trainer role. They had so many years of knowledge and expertise and were really, really good at what they did. They also had a really strong personality, really motivational, and just a great coach. Really enjoyed, the customers and their customers and clients really enjoyed them. So they were the main draw. They did have a specialty in that gym. It was helping youth athletes get recruited into college and then hopefully go pro for any kind of sport. So what happened was the coach was ready to step back and just lead and be a mentor and not do all of the coaching. They had very little left of themselves in their family time at the end of the day, and it was really wearing on them. What happened was when they tried to step back, their clients were a little nervous because they all wanted to work with that one coach because of the personality, really. The clients don't know the technical part of your business. They don't know whether you're a good trainer, accountant, lawyer, whatever. They know what results you get them, right? What results your methodologies get them. And so he was worried they weren't going to let him go. And it was true because he wasn't selling them on the methodologies. He was just naturally selling them on himself, which makes it really difficult to detach yourself from your customers. So we want to refocus. What does the customer value from us? Is it our charming personality, or is it the results we're getting them? Because personality is only going to take you so far. And when you're ready to get out of the weeds and you're ready to expand and or scale or do whatever it is you need to do, you're going to get stuck if they're only with you because of your personal connection, and you're not necessarily comfortable discussing the value and the results and the outcomes that you're bringing to your customers. The third one is, can I trust my team to do it? So if we go back to my gym owner, that was the same thing. He had a team. He was a little frustrated with them because the team wanted to do it their way. So when they would work with either a team of athletes or one-on-one training, there was a lot of, ways of doing things. So everyone had their own methodology instead of adopting one gym-wide methodology. So again, that is a question, will my team do it the way I want them to do it? What we want to do is make sure that we're not feeling overwhelmed about that, about delegating our knowledge and expertise. If you're holding as the technical expert in your business, if you're holding all the cards and you're not able to share that in a way that holds your team accountable, then you're going to stay stuck. So it was really important that we had some sort of methodology that not only he trusted, but his coaches bought into as well. That was all about the definition of success around the customers, the clients of this gym, and the outcomes that they were getting from working out at that gym versus their competitor. Okay, so 3 questions. Can I afford to walk away out of this role into a different role? Or can I afford to stay in this role and pay for the people that are going to support me to stay in my technical zone of genius? That's kind of a combo, one question. The second question is, will my customers and clients accept me in a new role and work well with the people that are going to be doing what I do now? The third one is, will the team step up in a way that's consistent throughout the organization? And will our customers get the same results as if they were working with me versus working with my team because of our methodology? So if those 3 questions are keeping you stuck, it's because you've never had the time or space or like the guidance to get those things properly strategized and an action plan to get them implemented. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a methodology with a name or anything like that. It does make it easier, especially if you are a service-based provider, to have some sort of a methodology that you call your own, because that is what's going to set you apart in your market. But it's not a necessity. That's why it's number 3 on the tier as far as like where we're going to go, inside of the methodology. So this show exists because I have been in that exact same place, and I've spent years helping founders find their way out of it after I got my way out of it, understanding what my genius zone was and where I needed to show up in my business to make me the happiest and get me what I wanted out of my business and get my life back. What I want you to do right now, founder, is I want you to let go of the guilt, let go of the frustration with your team, with yourself. Let go of that secret shame. You may not even know it's there, but I see it all the time with my founders who feel guilty not knowing how to read the numbers, not knowing all the things, all of the pieces in their business and how to put them in the right places in the puzzle. Let go of it. It's not serving you. It's not going to help you move past being stuck where you are, and it's not going to help you get your life back. What you want to be working on is where you want to be in your business. So what I want you to do is I want you to envision the actual business you really want. What role do you really want to have inside of your business? Where do you want to be every day? What's going to make you jump out of bed every morning excited for the day ahead to show up at work? What's going to help you sleep well at night? What's going to help you leave the office knowing that today was a success and that you really enjoyed your time there doing what you love doing? I want you to think about the team that you need around you to support you in that role. What roles do you need? Not the who, the what. So role first, person second. Quick aside, just to let you know, oftentimes, and I work with founders every day, and I was very guilty of this myself. This is how I know this lesson so well. Creating roles for the people I already had versus roles my business needed to give my customers the outcomes they wanted and desire. We reverse engineer the role for the client outcome, customer outcome, and then we find the person that fits that role the best so that that person's going to be successful in that role. Okay. So that's your tidbit for today. After you think about the team you need, I want you to think about the life that exists on the other side of this wall that you found yourself on. What it's going to look like when you come home on the weekends and you take an unplugged vacation and you get to enjoy time with your significant other, your dog, your cat, your kids, your, whoever, your social group, whoever it is that's missing you right now and that you're missing. I want you to think about the lack of stress you're going to have because you know that your business can afford this and that you're going to be working in the role that you really want to be in and that your team is happy and the business seems to be supporting itself. I want you to write down your ideal business. What does that look like? Very big ideas. Don't tell me what it looks like right now. Tell me what it's going to look like when it's your ideal business. If you want, you can share it with me. I said, tell me. Tell yourself. It's more important you tell yourself. But tell me if you want. You can always text me directly at the number 1-804-599-4400. And it's going to come directly to me in my phone. And I'm going to read every one of these text messages because, founder, it is time for you to get your life back.